Hey, I'm Isaac and welcome to my arcade. Well, it's been a bit since I released my last video, so I figured I'd start catching up. I did skip Minecraft last week, so now I figure I have 12 hours of Minecraft to catch up on this week. I've been falling behind on my goal because shortly before I released my last video on Cast and Chill, I ended up being hired back where I used to work as a dishwasher, and I know it sounds like it sucks, but the tips make the job worth it. Now that my Cast and Chill video is out though, I figured it's time to prioritize building a home and getting a farm straightened out. For the minute, I have plenty of food, so I'm going to prioritize getting my house squared away first. One thing that surprised me when I came back to my world was the addition of Vibrant Visuals. I've been doing so much with work that I totally spaced the update. While I think the Vibrant Visuals are beautiful, they need to be worked on, but I'm sure it'll be ironed out. I did try tuning my brightness settings, but it's hard to find the perfect settings. You'll probably see a lot of variance in light levels on this video. I'm planning to build a compound with a tiny side barn and horse farm on the property with a mini pond. It'll probably take me a few days in real life to complete, but that's okay. It only took me about half an hour to fill in the dirt for my house, so now I'm going to head on into paint.net and finish up drawing building plans. I figure I should make a nice compact compound with several layers down below and draw a courtyard layout. Hold on, is courtyard 2 words or 1? Come on Google, give me some useful answers. Okay, courtyard is 1 word. Moving on, I'm going to need tons of resources to build myself a little self-sufficient compound that looks decent, so I'm planning to use a lot of stone bricks with oak wood. I'll likely use some regular bricks in the mix with some deep slate for roofing. Alright, I guess it's time to start getting the area ready. I'll definitely need to collect resources later, but for now I'm just focusing on the first level of the basement and the courtyard walls. A little side note is the new Minecraft music is pretty good. While the old music is still in the game and comes on in game, I miss it because I feel like it hardly plays. Although the new Minecraft music has a really nice tune for just hanging out and grinding out some Minecraft. Having a good soundtrack is very important when you're planning to pour hours into a project. While digging out the basement, I realized I only had an abundance of wood, so I should dig out my basement all the way instead of just lining it out so I could collect a lot more cobblestone. I also set up a nice little auto smelter for smelting my cobblestone, and got some lava to use in as abundant source of fuel, because I'm gonna need to do a ton of smelting. Alright, well I've managed to dig out a good first layer for the basement and get a ton of cobblestone smelting, so I'm gonna come back to my game once all the stone is smelted and build up all the compound walls. Well, it's been a week since I've played Minecraft and dug out my basement, but now it's time to build up my walls since the stone is nice and smelted. I have been totally slammed and understaffed at work since I last hopped on Minecraft, but I'm glad I have my own little world that feels like an art platform I can get on when I do have some free time. I've been falling really behind on my 6 hours a week goal, but I've been super exhausted, but I've also been making money, so I figure it's okay as long as I do eventually get the video out. It's also pretty inconvenient to set up and record right now because my whole setup has been taken out of my room when we install hardwood flooring and paint the walls. And the floor probably won't be done until I get this video out. As of right now, the walls are painted and we're just waiting for the floor people who are supposed to install the floor the 28th of this July. I'm really hoping I can make a totally self-sufficient fortress before I expand out and start building a city around me. I'll certainly need a nether portal, smelting room, enchanting room, armor and tool repair room, along with building a beautiful but probably not functional topside compound. I'm sure my actual compound won't look anything like the floor plan that I drew up, but that's okay. It's just a reference guide for me to use since I go so far in between play sessions. While I was in the middle of doing the second layer for my walls, I realized I hadn't done any real architecture to the walls to make it look good, so I hopped back around to the front side of the base and remade the walls I hadn't stylized yet. While the wall design isn't my favorite, it's definitely a start. I'm hoping I'll have enough materials to make the walls, but I'm already starting to run low. I'll have to start a strip mine here soon. Even if I do have enough materials to finish the wall, I still need to collect a bunch more stone to build structures inside the compound. Well, I was just about done with finishing the tower and then I ran out of stone bricks, so I'm gonna collect more cobblestone to smelt, then I can finish the tower and call it done with the walls for now. I knew this was gonna happen. I was down in the caves collecting more lava buckets for the auto smelter, and I just so happened to find some more diamonds. I also had my 6-year-old sister next to me at the time, and she was so ecstatic to help me collect the 5-hole diamonds. The spawn rate for diamonds must have been brought up by a lot compared to when I last played in 1.19.4. You know, I was just sitting here doing my thing, and then I realized I managed to die in the dumbest of ways possible. Anyway, it took me 2 days worth of building to complete the tower and walls. It's definitely turned out different from the plans I drew up, but I'm satisfied with the results of my compound walls. Next week I'm going to construct some buildings inside of the walls. Alright, well I guess it's time for me to do some more building, but guess what we gotta do before we can build? That's right, collect more resources! But I'm gonna spend the next couple of hours today collecting all sorts of resources to build inside the compound. but I'm probably going to need a lot more stone and clay for bricks, plus I have next to no deep slate. Something I realize is that it's probably better to use my quote-unquote extra stones like diorite, andesite, and granite to make stairs for my strip mine, especially since the only time I ever use one of these three useless stones is andesite for my pathways. And some of you guys might be wondering why I'm leaving a strip of the stairs in the strip mine undone, and it's so I can put down minecarts and have a system set up where I have a full inventory and can send a minecart up top with a full inventory of stuff instead of having a ton of chests down below that I have to transfer up top slowly. Alright, well I've collected plenty of stone and deep slate, plus I have plenty of wood. Now I just need a good couple stacks of cobblestone and plenty of clay to turn into bricks. Thankfully, during the first episode I managed to get a golden helmet with Respiration 3 and Aqua Infinity off a skeleton or zombie. I don't remember what it was now, but I'm glad I got the helmet. And someone might be wondering why I mention it, because I'll need to be underwater for a little while to collect plenty of clay. Alright, well, after I spent a series of minutes underwater collecting a couple stacks of clay, I'd say I finally have enough, and I spent another series of seconds collecting some more cobblestone, so I'd say we have more than enough resources to start constructing our inner compound area. I'm glad I finally have all the resources I need. I spent all day today on and off Minecraft. You may have also noticed my recordings are 10 times more clear than my previous ones. To sum it up simply, I finally got my settings right. Also, something I'd like to mention, I do feel hypocritical from last episode talking about how far the render distance was in Minecraft Java Edition and why I preferred Minecraft Bedrock Edition, and now here I am using shaders with a 24 render distance limit. While I'm waiting for things to finish smelting, I'm just doing a little mining trip. I was expecting to be on a short mining trip, but I ended up mining for a couple hours and got a good couple diamonds. Well, I'm finally able to start building. I ended up starting a little kitchen building first. I really wanted these buildings to have 2 stories, but I don't think there will be enough room, especially for the kitchen. I couldn't figure out a proper color palette for the top floor and roofing. I'm just going to slowly fill these buildings in over the period of today. While building the HQ, I wanted to be 5 blocks wide inside so I can evenly disperse some lanterns inside the building. I'm thinking I'll probably just have some tables and maps inside the HQ building. I also need a flag to hang up everywhere, so I need to get designing one of those. I'm very happy with how the HQ building turned out, but I honestly want to rebuild the kitchen. The inside of the kitchen is okay, but the outside honestly just feels super bland, so I took 5 minutes to make the kitchen fit in much more. It probably took me another hour to build the little bank and bed house. I didn't really know what to do with the armory corner, so I just made a little building I can use to quickly store weapons, or maybe I'll turn it into a valuables vault. I'm not too sure yet. As for the bed house, I think I'll call it the Wooden Creeper Inn. I'm pretty happy with how the whole little compound has turned out so far, but I have to go to bed for now. I'll be on to do some more furnishings tomorrow and tidy up the outside. I'm honestly really happy with the way the inn turned out. It's not quite how I imagined it, but it's better. I also decided to rename the inn to a more fitting Ironworker Inn. After going to touch up the diner, I decided a fitting name was the King's Cow. Since I imagine they have the best food in all of the lands, this place was already pretty furnished, but I wanted to add a little cauldron with some water and a dyed cauldron with some ale and mead. I figured throwing in a few barrels at the entrance would make things look better too. While touching up the bank, I really struggled. I ended up redesigning the front of the bank and came up with the Imperial Bank as the name for now, but I'm not really satisfied with that name, so I'll probably change it around later. I decided I would call the HQ the Captain's Quarters. I don't really think the name fits, but it rolls off the tongue really well. The only thing I'll have in the Captain's Quarters is probably a map of the area, some flags, and I'll get some armor stands in there too. And it took me a good 30 seconds to figure out how to craft the armor stand again. I swear, I can never remember the proper crafting recipes. Now that I've decorated all the buildings, it's most certainly time to finish up by making the pathway and doing some gardening. It took me maybe half an hour to 45 minutes to do the pathway, and it turned out really nice, I'd say. I'm almost fully done with the compound, but it's my bedtime now, so it's time for me to get laying down again. I'll pick up where I left off after work tomorrow. Well, I've finally finished up doing the flora inside the compound, and I think the compound turned out absolutely lovely. While I'm lacking the diversity in plants that I'd really hoped for, I still think this compound turned out beautiful. Well, anyway, I'm Isaac, this is my arcade, stay tuned, and have a good day.